K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Six out of 10 Republicans recommend FTR Radio to everyone they know. The other 4 are rhinos. FTR Radio, online at FTRradio.com. FTR Radio salutes some of the great Democrat presidents in the radio era. FTR Radio.
You're listening to Liz and Tayor.
Alright, so why can't I get another tattoo? Come on. Because you get another tattoo, then you start talking another gun.
But not the movie star. The battling duo from the Right War on FTR Radio.
Oh, come on. You're the one who said it. That was a joke. Partially.
Enlist in the Right War. Won't cost you nothing. Not as good as military service. But it's got to count for something, right?
Good evening, folks. Thank you for listening to FTR Radio. I am Liz Harrison, and this is The Right War, and I have Taylor here with me, of course.
Yeah, and you've chained me up a lot better than you did recently. I mean, these are tight.
Oh, okay. So you could barely rattle them.
I can barely move. I mean, what, were you afraid that I was going to leave or something?
Yeah, actually I was, but that's a whole other story. Now, one person who I'm not afraid is going to go and run off because, you know, he just loves me so much. Jason Pye.
That's factually accurate. I do love Liz. Why are you laughing? I'm not laughing.
Oh, I've had one of those days. You sort of kind of heard it, you know.
Yeah. This
is one of those days where if we did do the outtakes behind a paywall, I wouldn't have hit record.
I think to some degree, I think that's true of every time we get on the air or before we go on the air. I think people would pay to hear that stuff. Oh yeah. So yeah, some of the ththings that are discussed. And it's not about Taylor thinking about us while he's in bed.
No.
Because that's just weird, yo. Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
It's going, man. I've had a good week. Long week, but a good week.
That's good.
Taylor has the sads. We love you, Taylor.
You gotta go back up to the district next week, which is fun, I guess.
No, it's so nice that, you know, never mind. I'm annoyed about other things that, you know, I can't talk about, even arguably some of it were possibility of good news.
Oh,
right.
For me.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed if that makes any difference.
Yeah.
Well, I'd prefer some of the other stuff to happen, not the current discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words, son.
Okay, well, now let's get away from the inside baseball because, we can't torture our listeners with this. So, it's been a busy week, hasn't it?
It has been. It's been a long week, a busy week, an interesting week. Especially when it comes to the wonderful world of justice reform, which is pretty much all I do these days. I'm happy. I like it. It's a fun. I got to witness. I don't know if you guys saw this on, I think, Tuesday night. There was a 5-senator. It's called a colloquy, where they get around and it's like a formal discussion about some issue. And it was led by Senator Mike Lee, who's the co-sponsor of this bill called the Smarter Sentencing Act, and it would widen the safety valve for nonviolent offenders who have little to no criminal record, and also cut in half mandatory minimums for nonviolent offenders. And they spent about 35 minutes or so on the Senate floor, and they were talking about the benefits of the bill and dispelling myths that have been put forward by some other members, which really just based on bad information. I think the senator, one of the senators who is opposed to this bill, has just been really fed misinformation about it. But they got up and for 35 minutes just picked apart every argument against the bill, and then kind of just extolled the virtues of it. And from the fiscal aspect, from restoring families, because a lot of people who are sent away to prison for under mandatory minimums are being torn away from their families. In some cases, are the sole breadwinners of the family. And also noting that I think Cory Booker, oddly enough, was the one who pointed out that a lot of the reforms that come from this bill have been adopted by Republican-leaning states such as Texas and Georgia. So it was a pretty interesting dynamic to see. You have Mike Lee and Jeff Flake, both of whom were endorsed by FreedomWorks PAC back in both in 2000. Well, Lee was endorsed in 2010. Flake was endorsed in 2012. Kind of on the floor with three of the most liberal Democrats, Sheldon Whitehouse, Dick Durbin, and Cory Booker, all coming together on this one issue, and it was kind of an amazing thing to watch. So I was really, and I turned it into a blog post at FreedomWorks on Wednesday, the 9 facts about mandatory minimums and the Smarter Sentencing Act. It kind of did a little bit of a listicle with it. So there's some GIFs and images in there and whatnot, but tried to ease the make it a little bit more of a lighthearted issue, but it's very serious stuff still. And this bill would save taxpayers $3 billion over the next 10 years, and the Justice Department has put out an estimate that says it would save nearly $24 billion over 20 years. So it would be a good thing to see that bill passed. And with all that, I know I'm getting long-winded here, but with all that, the reforms that have been enacted in Texas have seen, since I think 2007 were when they were passed, you've seen drops in crime, drops in the rates of repeat offenders, and so there are definitely positives. And I just, I'm crossing my fingers and hope the Senate will pass that bill, because it really is indeed a worthy cause.
Well, definitely is. Now, I came across something this week. It was relatively amusing and somewhat related to the whole mandatory sentencing thing. Well, how about minor drug offenses? This is a better way to put it.
Okay.
And it just stuck with me because of what it is riding with, and also the name of the gentleman who is bringing it to the floor in Nevada. Tick Segerblom. Gotta love that name. Tick! Wow, I'm not going to make any commentary about his parents.
Hey, and he's a Democrat.
Yes,
so
he is.
It kind of works out.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, he brought a bill to the floor that would grant ailing pets the use of medical marijuana, never mind the fact that there are no real studies out there to show how efficient that would be, or anything, and I don't think there are any veterinarians stepping up to talk about this. But what really upsets me is that bundled in with this is something that should have been done and should be done in Colorado and anywhere else where they legalize marijuana at all, whether it's medical or recreational use. And that is, they need to step up the driving under the influence laws.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean...
No.
I mean,
I shouldn't say step up. They should amend them. Because if you end up going for drug testing and they find marijuana in your system, currently, if it was flat out illegal, then obviously that's a problem.
Right.
But once you've legalized it, then one way or another, you have to remove that. You have to go with is the person actually physically impaired? That is where the cameras that we don't necessarily like or do necessarily like, the body cameras for the officers would come in handy, because they'd have video evidence of whether or not they were physically impaired.
Right.
But THC stays in the system for days, weeks, or months, depending upon the frequency of use. However, anybody who has used it knows you could have THC in your system but be stone cold sober, so to speak.
Sure. No, I mean, I think for the casual user, it stays in for a couple weeks or so, at least from what I've read. It's been a while since I've dug into that, but
what I saw at Leaf Science, I believe it was 4 days. If
4 days,
somebody who uses it the first time or doesn't use it very often at all, and the relatively common user, you're getting into the 2-week range. And if you're an extreme user, it could be up to 67 days.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Of course, that data dates back to 1985, but I sincerely doubt that has significantly changed over the years.
I would be interested to see what studies have come out in the last 10 years or so, because in 85, that was as we were getting into the height of the drug war, and it wasn't. We're not talking about, remember that ad from the 50s or 60s with the guy who smokes weed and goes crazy? Not that kind of insanity around the drug war, but in terms of enforcement, it was really ramping up. I think the mandatory minimum law was actually passed in 1986. I think it was the crime. I want to say it was the Crime Prevention Act, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But maybe Taylor can look it up since he's the crack researcher.
What am I supposed to be looking up?
I'm just being stupid. No, I don't know. I mean, and again, just to preface this conversation by saying that the opinions expressed from this point forward are mine and mine only. I don't. In terms of this story, since this is the one we're talking about, Liz, Georgia is actually working on their own medicinal marijuana bill, and it's the cannabis oil is what we're talking about here. The THC is taken out of it, or it's low-level THC. It's not enough to get someone high, and they're saying that it helps with seizures. Actually, the state representative who's sponsoring a bill like that actually came out and talked to a local group that I go to, out here in my local area, and he had a parent of a child who experiences dozens of seizures every day, and it has reduced them down to one a day, maybe even one every few days, as opposed to having several a day. So it's pretty interesting. His family actually is out in Colorado now, where it's legal. In Georgia, it remains illegal until the legislature acts. The bill's before the Senate right now, already passed the House, but it seems to me like there's a lot of benefit in terms of pets. I don't know,
right?
Because I have a dog who is, I think Reagan is. Jeez, we got her in 2007. She was a year and a half then, so she's probably almost 9 now. And she's starting to get up there in age, and we can actually see it now because when she comes into bed with us, especially when it's cold outside, we let her come in and sleep in bed. And it's really hard for her to get up because I think her hips are starting to bother her. So it's going to be like I don't want to have to go through. I don't want to have to go through that with her, where we're having to treat her with kind of unorthodox or untested treatments, like TA or medicinal marijuana or cannabis oil, and it come back and actually prove to be something very harmful to her and would worsen her condition. I would like to see some sort of study that proves it before I give my dog something that's been untested. At the same time, I mean, if she's getting if she's not doing that well, I would rather put her out of her misery than try to unnecessarily prolong her life in an instance like this. Does that make any sense? I don't know. I mean, because if it's my dog, she's suffering, she's going to continue to suffer. Why wouldn't I just want to help her? Why would I just want to make sure she doesn't have to suffer? So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird and rambling. But I don't know. I just wouldn't want my dog to have to go through that.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you there.
Because I really do love my dog to death, and when we have another dog, Icarus. He's a couple years younger than Reagan, and he had parvo, which is basically I don't know what it compare it to. Somebody compared it to HIV or AIDS for dogs, but you can dogs can survive it, but the survival rate's kind of 50-50. We could have just as easily put him out of his misery, but we went with the treatments that were proven to work. Like I said, I don't know that I would have given my dog cannabis oil to make sure he survived that if it had been untested, but I don't know. But that's just me.
Right.
People,
Taylor?
yes. People, yes. Dogs, no.
Taylor,
Yes.
Are you alive?
Yeah?
Oh, okay. You were just mighty quiet there.
Well, Jason was talking, and I didn't want to interrupt him.
It's never stopped you before.
No, I'm here. We're all here, fine. Great.
Yeah, Taylor's not in a good mood tonight.
Look, when it comes to drugs, they ought to be legal. They really ought to. All drugs. I'll say it. All drugs should be legal. From K2 to pot to crack cocaine to black tar heroin, they should all be legal. Should medical marijuana be given to dogs? I'd rather tests be done and studies be done first before, that's decided whether that should happen or not. So I feel the same way about cats or hamsters or rabbits or ducks.
Yeah,
rabbits,
somebody please
Not-
page PETA.
Not snakes though. Let's test it out on snakes because I hate snakes.
Okay, Indiana Jones.
Thanks.
It's a rope.
Yeah, and
by the way, for those sitting there going, "Oh man, Taylor, you just want to smoke and do drugs and stuff like that." Nope, no desire.
oh, I've
No
never.
desire
I mean,
whatsoever.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I've never smoked pot. Never done drugs. Alcohol.
No desire.
Alcohol, yes. Drugs, no.
Yeah.
Although alcohol is a drug, it's just legal.
Exactly.
And by the way, Mike in the chat room who asked a question about government funding and all that stuff. Probably about 90% of what the government funds is unconstitutional.
Right.
90%.
Anyway, on the drugs, I can't say I haven't used them, so whatever. I can say that I've only used marijuana twice, quote, recreationally. So.
You're doing better than most of my friends.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just saying most people I know, especially my friends out here locally in the area, have tried pot on more than 2 occasions.
Oh, I didn't say that I've only used it twice. I said I only used it twice recreationally.
Okay.
Also, I would like to point this out too. I'll just say this, and I'll just say this: 2-1. That's all I have to say. 2-1.
I know. I knew that was coming.
I just figured I'd go ahead and get it out of the way now.
Yeah, I know. The Dallas Stars beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 2-1.
I didn't even know hockey was still in season.
It is.
It is until June.
Oh.
Yeah, hockey's just not my thing, man. But hey, spring training, it's happening.
Yeah.
And the opening day is literally right around the corner.
Yes, it is.
And I am super excited. Even though the Braves are going to suck terribly this year, I am super excited.
They'll probably do better than the baseball team in Arlington, so don't feel bad.
And the one in Pittsburgh.
The Pirates have not been terrible the last couple seasons.
Yeah, but they're not looking so good in training.
But I'm taking
spring training.
Well, spring training. I mean, I was telling a friend of mine this the other day, yesterday, I think, actually, because he was going through spring training, like, standings, and I was like, dude, don't even bother with that stuff because it doesn't matter. I mean, they play their scrubs for like the last 7 innings of the game. Like, don't pay it any mind. But I'm picking the Nats and the Red Sox to go to the World Series. Write it down. I made that prediction.
Yeah.
You guys don't really care at all.
No, well, I didn't say that. As somebody who was born in Boston, I'm not going to complain about the Red Sox being in the World Series. I didn't know. I'm a Rangers fan.
I didn't know you were born in Boston.
Yeah, I spent a year and a half there.
Oh.
Yeah, so he doesn't remember it.
So you're not really a son of liberty.
Oh, that was cruel.
Good night, folks.
He seriously hung up.
Oh, it was a joke.
Jason.
Oh, Harry's back.
Oh.
Taylor was gone for all of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Come back. Yeah. Come back, homie.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
But
I mean,
anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have more of a connection for the... okay, hang on a second. Mike, you don't need to put the link on Liz's Facebook page. She's got it bookmarked.
Yeah, I have it bookmarked. We don't need the URL. I have it.
Yeah.
In fact, I even have it open in a tab. It just wasn't working properly. I have to clear the cache on my browser because I'm a horrible person. In an average day, I have at least 200 tabs open throughout the day. So occasionally my browser decides it's not going to work on certain pages.
That's 200 in a day?
In a day.
Jeez, man.
I actually went and did one of those, they have these goofy little text count programs where you could figure out how many words are on a given page on the internet, and you could sit there and get an idea of how many words you're reading in a day. Yeah, I topped out the other day at 50,000. So
I may, in a given day, I may look at 75. I may have 75 tabs open.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing that. 200. Yeah.
Getting back to the Son of Liberty comment.
It was a joke, man. Calm down.
I'll only say this. A relative of mine is a statue at Concord.
Dude, you've told me that before, and it was a joke.
Yeah. I can't claim roots like that. Mine were all over in Scotland and Germany at that point.
Actually, I found something really cool this week. My mom, maybe the weekend, my mom texted me and she said, "Hey, I need you to go to your local probate court and get death certificates for these two people." And it turns out, the county in which I live, apparently I had, my 4th and 5th great grandfathers lived out here in the 1830s, and I had no clue, didn't know, because I live in Newton County, Georgia, which is 30 miles east of Atlanta, and so we always thought, because it's always said Newton, Georgia, it never said Newton County, Georgia, or Covington, Georgia, which is the city near the major city, it's the county seat. It never said any of that stuff. So I would just look at it and be like, okay, I don't even know where Newton, Georgia is. I've never heard of it. And I was like, could it be Newton County? But wouldn't it say county? So Anyway, but my mom found census records from 1830, 40, and 50 that put them in Newton County, Georgia. And like a buddy of mine he has roots out here. He's like generations back or from this area, and he's offered to go with me to the local courthouse and like look at the old like early 19th century property records so we can try to find stuff on them. Like I'm really kind of like my mom's done all this work over the last probably 20 years. I mean, I was probably 10 or 11, so it's longer than 20 years. She's been working on this stuff. So she's traced through research that was already available and other research she's done. She's traced our family history back to, Norway? Like,
wow.
Like 9th century Norway.
So you were a Viking?
I guess. I don't know.
No wonder you have such an awesome beard.
It's not, but it's not. It's not red though, man.
There were non-red Vikings.
Yeah.
All Vikings are gingers, man. It's a horrible, horrible race.
No, Vikings.
I'm just kidding.
See,
joke.
You know,
it was a joke.
I pay you a compliment. And you got to turn around and do that, man.
Actually, I gotta show you. I gotta show you, man. The beard is getting a little. It's getting a little long.
There we go.
This weekend, I'm gonna go get a haircut and get it all like trimmed out and everything.
Yeah.
So, especially because it grows under really kind of gross, like bushy under the chin there. So, good times.
I've unplugged my
camera.
Yeah, or else I would show you what mine looks like.
Oh dear. Yeah, the men have to, show off their beards.
Yeah, man. The beards are where it's at.
The manly thing.
Yeah.
I'm terrified. Well, anyway, we're heading on the bottom of the hour, and we did promise in the show post, for those of you who actually knew about it, we have an interview that I recorded earlier because, I'm a nice person. Tel Aviv is 6 hours ahead of us. So you do the math, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning there, 5:30. So I'm not a mean person. I'm not going to try to get Michael Gano out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we tried before, and that doesn't work so well. So, yeah, I had a discussion with him earlier today, and truth be told, this is only a part of that interview. The rest of it will air on a later episode.
Probably
of the
Saturday
Right
Night
War,
Cigar Lounge.
or the Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. Right. We might do both, actually, because I'll probably clip the rest of it for next Wednesday. Because he talks a lot about other things than just the election. This is about the Israeli election, so right after the ad for the evening and Taylor's disclaimer, we will go right back into Michael Gano's interview, and then we will be back to talk about it. So, be right back in a few, folks. Hello, this is Liz Harrison from The Right War here on FTR Radio. And when I want to bring you the best conservative talk on the net, I use Radio Boss from djsoft.net.
This is the Pint-Sized Pundit, and I'm here to tell you that anything Taylor says on The Right War is his opinion and his opinion only. He does not speak for his employees, his employers, employer, or anyone else. He especially does not speak for my mom unless she says so.
And we're talking here with Michael Gano, straight from Tel Aviv. And I guess that's ground zero for understanding what happened in Israel. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, you were telling me before that you had a video that went viral, and it was on the evil V-15 people that Obama didn't really send over there. He's going to deny it. but we all know the truth.
Right.
So, I know I haven't had a chance to see the video yet, but you were telling me they're selling hope and change. How'd that work over there in Israel?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, Obama could deny it all he wants, and actually there's not been much confrontation as far as personal confrontation to Obama when it comes to One Voice and B-15, the American taxpayers paying for money to come over here and try and influence the election. But Jeremy Byrd, who was a campaign operative for Obama in 2008 and 2012, had come here to try and oust Bibi and all the right wing. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, but they spent literally millions of dollars on YouTube videos, on YouTube advertisements, on all the social media, in the newspapers, in the news here, on the television. They literally spent millions of dollars to try and influence this election. And basically the way they portrayed it was, Israel is destitute. Israel, is facing hard times. There's people in the street. I would have people email me and say, is there really people starving in the street? And I'm like, that's the craziest thing. The unemployment rate right here in Israel is 5.6%. It just came out with the stats last week. So it was a huge portrayal. And I'll tell you, the majority of Israelis that understood what was going on with B-15 and Obama's desire to influence the elections, it enraged them. And with that enragement, we saw, and we currently see that some new stats came out, that the Likud party took about 29 seats in the Knesset, which was far more than was predicted. So it had a huge impact. Obama actually, it backfired on the left. Because when you try to come from the outside and influence the elections here, Israelis are very, very offended because they understand that the first and foremost above everything else, sovereignty and security. If you don't have that, then you have no internal problems to deal with.
Yeah, that's something that I observed over on Radix News. I was sort of appalled when I saw what they were doing. Trying to export literally the playbook from 2008 to Israel. And I was thinking, are you folks crazy or what? But,
even the left-wing politicians were using the words hope and change. I'm like, can you not disguise this? I mean, at least disguise it,
It's crazy. Now, unfortunately, they haven't played their last play, or at least that's what we're hearing here from Politico. There is a possibility, and I would like to say it's slight, but I can't, that Obama is going to backpedal in the UN.
Yes.
In retribution.
Absolutely. I've been watching the European and in the European media here in Israel, in my cable. I watched the French media, and there was a Jewish French guy that got on there and said he is appalled and ashamed with the Israeli people and the government here. And he basically stated and said openly that Obama is going to use the United Nations, force Israel to the negotiating table, and go back to pre-67 borders, which means, in turn, the Golan Heights, the return of the Golan Heights to Syria. And that's huge. That's a huge problem because that is a major strategic military point for Israel, and it overlooks the Sea of Galilee or the Kinneret. And that's why, Israel owns it anyway. Historically, the Jewish people own it. But when they took it back militarily, that is a very, very big deal there. So Obama, there's going to be huge retribution for this from the Obama administration.
Oh, right. As I mentioned, that is not the entire interview with Mr. Gannell. We will have the entire interview airing on Saturday night on the Vigilant Liberty Radio, Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, and Otherwise...
No idea what segment, by the way.
Yeah, we don't know what segment yet. But the rest of that interview, which includes a lot of information about the background that many Americans don't know about, as far as the geography and where all of these settlements that we always hear people fighting about, that will be on here on FTR Radio next Wednesday. Because, it goes on and on for like 20 minutes. We don't want to torture Jason and make him go and deal with that. But earlier in the...
Wait. Why? I wouldn't consider that torture. I find this stuff interesting.
Well, what I mean is that, we would have the whole time taken up by that interview instead of talking with you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. But at the same time, like, I get really fascinated by politics in other countries, and it's something I wish, if I had more time on my hands, it's something I would really dive into, because I like learning about political parties and the political process in other countries, and I really like, and this is I don't know if we've ever talked about this before. I've had general conversations about it with friends, but I really like the parliamentary system. I actually think it's better than our congressional system, like the way we elect our representatives here. Like, I wish we would do something like that. I'm not saying that John Boehner should be the prime minister for the United States, but I just really like how it's like the proportional.
I'd rather vote for individual candidates than full parties.
I like the proportional representation side of things. Like it would allow for more voices, more parties. You have to form coalitions. Like, I really like that idea.
Oh, I'm not against that, but I'm also just not in favor of.
Oh, sure.
I would prefer not to sit there and have to vote straight Republican just because I happen to like Greg Abbott versus she of the pink sneakers.
Right.
No, I get it.
Because I didn't vote for Dan Patrick, who's now lieutenant governor. I didn't vote for him because I didn't want him to be lieutenant governor. I didn't want Letitia Van de Putte to be either, but I voted for the Libertarian. So
right. Well, my primary issue is that.
But I'm weird.
I voted a straight Republican ticket with the exception of 3 offices this past cycle. I didn't vote in the lieutenant governor's race, and I voted for third-party candidates in the public service commission race. But other than that, I voted Republican. It was actually the first time I voted Republican for governor and Senate since 2000.
I know.
No. Actually, what was that? I take that back.
My phone.
I take that back. I actually don't think I voted. I don't think I'd ever voted for a governor. I don't think I ever voted for a Republican in either one of those races. Now that I think about it, so yeah, wow, okay. So there's that.
Lino, Libertarian in name only.
I'm not a Libertarian Party member anymore. I haven't been for 2.5 years, man.
Yeah. By the way, Liz, I have some music for you.
Uh-oh.
It won't take that long.
I'm afraid
here,
to
I have
ask.
some music for you. If it plays right. Because you know how I am with technology sometimes.
Yeah, we have tech issues.
Yeah. Here we go.
What in the world is that?
That's the Dallas Stars fight song.
Oh, of course, Dallas Stars.
You know who recorded it, though?
Who?
Do either of y'all remember the band Pantera?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did this song.
Rip Dimebag Darrell, man.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Taylor, I sent you a message with one of my old band songs.
I see that.
Yeah, you should take a listen to that sometime. I actually have a bunch of them on that SoundCloud page, so there should be plenty of things and for you to laugh at.
Okay. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, that would be Pantera.
Man, Walk was a good song, man.
I like Walk. I like Cemetery Gates. I like Cowboys from Hell. Everybody likes Cowboys from Hell, though, but it's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pantera did it. I actually got to meet Vinnie Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
I went to a friend of mine. Okay, you know how I used to be a drummer, right?
Yeah.
A retired drummer?
Right.
All right, so my drum teacher was doing a concert with his band. His band was named Chet Arthur. I kid you not. After the president, he named his band Chet Arthur.
Okay.
So I went to the concert, and it's at this club in, I don't know, Irving, I think, something like that, somewhere in Dallas. And I walk in there, and there's Vinnie Paul jamming with the band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
With his nose... I thought his nose piercing was a little weird. Guys with nose piercing, that just don't seem right.
You know, I've always wanted my lip pierced, but not my nose.
Ew.
No, it was when I was growing up, man, it was the punk rock thing to do. Get your lip pierced, like on the side, the corner.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do it, but I never did it. My wife has one, but not me. My wife has like more tattoos and piercings than I'll ever have. So.
Okay.
She has like 18 tattoos, and she has, I don't know, like 5 piercings. So.
Well, you've got what? 10 tattoos? And
I have 6 tattoos.
Okay.
Yeah, she has, like, my wife is so hardcore, she actually has the word bacon tattooed inside her lip with an arrow pointing back to the back of her mouth. So, anybody who talks about their love of bacon, yeah, my wife, like, one-ups you.
Yeah.
So.
Michelle Ray, you've been one-upped.
Yes.
Yes.
For real, it's, I don't know. She just got, most of her tattoos are pointless. At least mine, to me, mean something, so.
Yeah. I've thought about getting my ears pierced, the Chris Lash double ear pierce and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would look right with me.
I've thought about getting my ears pierced too.
No.
I thought about getting my ears pierced too and doing gauges, but my wife has informed me that I'm too old for that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't do gauges.
I mean, I wasn't talking like big gauges. I was talking maybe like double zeros, but she's just like, nah, you're a little too old for that now. So. Tattoos. I'll just stick to tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. Now I feel really ancient.
Why?
Why?
I just do.
It's not like last night when I put you and my dad in the same category when it came to Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah, that's true.
But I meant that as like a sign of respect, though.
Wait, what?
Okay, so
you guys both like Dropkick? Is that it, or
no?
Oh.
She and my dad don't like Dropkick. I like Dropkick.
I tolerate Dropkick.
So I was mentioning the fact that Liz was like, yeah, I don't like Dropkick. I was like, well, my dad's the same way. And Liz was like, you just compared me to.
Yeah. Of course, the real thing here is
Liz,
I'm like one of my former classmates.
If the shoe fits.
No, it doesn't, because his dad was saying that isn't music, and I generally agree.
Oh, whatever.
I prefer Flogging Molly.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay. Like I'm just saying. I mean, I don't like the vocals in Dropkick like that much. There are a few songs they do that I do really like, but the bagpipes, the acoustic guitar, the piano, like in a punk rock band, you don't see that very often.
No.
Or if ever. So, and I can appreciate that because, like I said, they do some really "Ship It Up to Boston's" a great song. Mm-hmm.
They don't throw concerts; they throw parties.
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to think. There's another they did a cover of Tessie, the Boston Red Sox.
Yes.
That's a great cover.
It's an awesome cover.
And Fields of Athenry, their cover of Fields of Athenry is really good too. So, and
I'm not real happy with Finnegan's Wake. I wish it was done better.
I really like, but in terms of Fields of Athenry, I'm a bigger fan of the No Use for a Name cover than the Dropkick cover. So,
but
that's just me.
I'm a former barmaid, so of course the Finnegan's Wake has to come out.
I actually don't think I've heard that.
You have to go and look it up.
I will do it.
It is a drinking song.
Yes, it is a drinking song.
Well, my drinking music is typically Damien Sumi and the Minor Prophets.
Oh, no. This is like a drinking game song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're supposed to beat your hand to the beat of the song, and if you get caught doing it after you're supposed to stop, you have to drink. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, in terms of general drinking music, I get the game aspect of it, but in terms of general drinking music, Damien, Sumi, and the Minor Prophets, if you guys have Spotify, go check them out, because they have a couple good songs on there that are really fit for drinking.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that after I'm done working tonight.
You should. Put it on...
Holy crap, I think I'm gonna die.
What?
The world is going to end, everybody. Oh, wait, I forgot it's Thursday night. Never mind.
No, the world is going to end. You know why it's going to end?
Why?
On Monday night and on Tuesday night, I had a beer after work.
Wow.
You know what? On Monday night, I had a Jack and Diet Coke after work.
Yeah, well, I have a no drinking on work nights rule.
Oh. I don't.
I had a bourbon after I made Sarah happy over at UL.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Nice.
So, I'm being a nice person to your old friends.
Oh, Sarah's great over there. I like Sarah a lot. And I don't know. I know Matthew is still writing over there. He actually had a really good piece this week on justice reform. So, yeah. I still dive in over there from time to time, see what's going on.
Right.
When I'm not buried in criminal justice reform and writing about it on our blog. So I actually got to write about something. Right. I actually got to write about something else this week, though, about Robert Reich floating Barack Obama's name for the Supreme Court.
Yes, that's a frightening thought.
Yeah, I saw that. A friend of mine shared it on Facebook, and I was just like, okay, bookmarking that. I'm going to write about that this week. So, yeah, like, and the response to it has been, as you would imagine, so.
Yes, like, please deliver us.
Right, no, that's pretty much what it's been. So, people are just, like, making fun of his, like, because he says he's a constitutional law professor, and obviously, in terms of how he's practiced through his presidency, hasn't been that concerned about the Constitution, but I digress.
Oh, no, we all understand this completely. Of course, earlier tonight, back to the Israel thing for a moment, we all agreed that the government spending millions of dollars to try to oust Bibi was a waste of taxpayer dollars, correct?
I haven't... Okay, I've heard about this. I have not followed it. But if like that's... And I'm not questioning you, Liz, so don't take this the wrong way. If that's legit, heads should roll.
Definitely. We're not sure yet. Basically, all indications all indications point at the possibility of money being funneled through, of all departments, State Department, and it was going to an organization that technically should not have been involved in political action. Now, they went back and reorganized themselves, so they are no longer a 501c3. So they've rectified their problem as far as doing the right thing, as far as, being a nonprofit and not engaging in political.
Well, that's the
campaigning.
I was actually just about to say that, because I know nonprofits are not supposed to engage in any campaigning whatsoever, but
they're allowed issues campaigning.
Issue ads are one thing. But I'm talking about, like, was this?
All right, here's what it was, according to the Fox News.
Liz just so one of you guys just sent me a link.
That was me. That was me. The American nonprofit One Voice movement, under scrutiny by a U.S. Senate panel over possible links to a campaign to oust Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, quietly filed paperwork that would allow it to engage in political activism after two leading Republican lawmakers questioned its use of government funds.
Okay.
So now the organization has straightened itself out, but at the same time it basically put the government in the soup.
Yeah.
Because while the government is able to do grants for nonprofits, not necessarily so whenever it comes to organizations that are able to engage in political activities.
Right.
Yeah. The State Department awarded One Voice the $350,000 in grant money in 2013. slotting more than 233,000 in staggered payments for their Israel branch and the rest for their Palestine grants.
Okay,
right.
So this is egregious. Like, no doubt.
Yes.
No doubt about it. But, like,
honestly, they're not sure how much money actually came from where at this point.
Well,
They do know how much was spent on the ground by V15, which is what the organization was funding. And a fair number of individuals from the Obama 2008 and 2012 campaigns went over there to sell hope and change to the Israelis, and it failed miserably.
The two things that immediately come to my mind here are, first of all, like, were any laws broken in the United States? Because and two, talk about the hypocrisy, because they want to crack down on speech from nonprofits in the United States, but apparently it's fine to try to, because they claim that we're influencing elections and all this stuff, and that money in politics is bad, but at the same time, if this is true, you're trying to influence elections in another country, but that's okay, because we don't like Bibi Netanyahu. And I'll say this, like, I'm ambivalent about the guy, and because he's so divisive.
I have issues with him sometimes. Yeah.
So, no, I'm just saying, like, and I understand, like, but he's become so divisive that I've kind of separated myself from even listening to anybody talk about him. But it's just like, this is a huge double standard, and it always is a double standard with the left. But this is ridiculous, man.
Well, it does put the whole temper tantrum over Netanyahu's speech to Congress, and that's in a whole new light now.
Yeah.
I mean, so much for claiming that you want to take the high ground and not influence an election overseas.
Yeah.
But basically, it didn't go over well over there. Primarily, it did temporarily, but reality checked in. 5.6% unemployment. That's what they're sitting on in Israel. We could wish for that here. If you're looking for real numbers here, that goes, between 15 and 20%?
Well, and it's the U6 unemployment rates. I haven't looked at it, but the last I checked, it was like 12%.
Yeah, but we are ignoring the fact that they remove individuals from those numbers when they...
Right, when they stop looking for work.
Exactly.
Right.
Which
the
doesn't give us a real picture.
I haven't looked.
Labor participation rate
is was at a 30-year low a couple months ago. So,
right.
But that also include. Well, I don't know if it include. I have to go back and look and see if it includes like retirees and things like that. I don't know if it does or not, but the labor participation rate does give a good sign of what the economy is looking at right now. It's more so than what the actual U3 unemployment rate is. So,
right, which is a sad statement.
Which is a very sad statement. But U6 is still a better measure than U3.
Right.
And labor participation is probably the best. So,
even if they are counting retirees, because let's be honest, we do see quite a few retirees that go and end up being employed.
Sure. Well, they have to supplement their income because Social Security is not worth a damn.
And a lot of them lost their pensions.
Right.
On the market.
True.
So, yeah, we're in a hellacious mess. They're in a relatively good situation, except for the one problem that they really have, which is national security, which of course the left, center-left Zionist Union was totally ignoring. And that obviously sunk in, as I put it over at Radix. Your cost of living doesn't really matter too much if you're not breathing. Just saying.
Yeah.
Self-preservation will always trump bread and butter issues.
There was some sort of issue that Netanyahu pulled out of his hat at the last minute.
It was the Arabs voting in droves.
No, it was the Palestinian state.
Right, that's what it was. It was a Palestinian state. He came out completely against it.
Right.
And I didn't like that he did that.
I didn't either. No, and I didn't either.
And I understand some of the criticisms over the Palestinian state and the fact that, can it exist if they keep electing Hamas and all that stuff? And I get that. I totally get that.
It's not just Hamas, it's also Fatah. And also, there's something that you have to understand, and as both of you, I think, have generally admitted, you're not in the same boat that I am, at least as far as foreign affairs is concerned. I will never get over the fact that every time that I go and look for anything from Palestinian news, such as it is, it's very limited, of course, in English. But every time that I go and look up anything in the few sources where I can, you know how you have the date line when you have a news story, and it will state where the story is occurring. When they were referring to Jerusalem, it is occupied Jerusalem. And it doesn't matter what city you talk about in Israel, it is occupied. That is important to realize. The Palestinians truly are not interested in a two-state solution. This is a lie that is being propagated by, individuals in Europe, the UN, the US, primarily from the left. They have one interest and one interest only. They want Israel gone. They want the whole thing. So I don't blame Netanyahu for saying this, because Israelis understand this, because they live it every day. They understand that the Palestinians that are trying to take control want everything. And of course, we're out of time, so thank you, Jason, for putting up with our nonsense.
No, as always, it's fun to talk to you guys.
And yeah, you can catch him at freedomworks.org. We will be back here next week, and like I said, we will have the rest of Michael Gano on, so we don't have to worry about finding a guest. But
does it mean I can show up next week or not?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for listening, folks. Have a great night and a great weekend. We will catch you next Wednesday.
Go Stars!
Nope.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.